Hi, welcome back to Sahara TV. My name is Rudolf Okonkwo. This is the Roundtable. This is when we bring to you experts on Nigeria and Africa to discuss issues and hot topics of the day. And today we have from the Central University, State University in Ohio, in Wilberforce, Ohio, Dr. Obiwu. He's an English professor at the university. Also, we have Remi Oyeyemi, who is a commentator and the founding assistant editor of PM News, that's in Nigeria. We are going to talk about the state of the country and all the topics. When we get to about 20 minutes time, we are going to open up our phone line so that you can join us in this discussion. So, Professor Obiwu, welcome to Sahara TV.
Thank you very much.
And Remi Oyeyemi, welcome to Sahara TV.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right. So a few minutes ago, we had an interview, a very interesting interview with the National Publicity Secretary of the CPC, that is the Congress for Progressive Change, the Buhari's party. And he said that Nigeria, as it is currently constituted, is a faulty union with a president that is almost like an emperor. So let me start from there. Dr. Obiwu, yes. What is the state of the country and why are we drifting apart as if there is no direction?
Well, to talk about our drifting apart, we'll assume that everybody agrees that the country is drifting apart. Do not completely believe that the country is drifting apart. I believe that the country as we have it today is the best we have had it for many years. If you are, in other words, it's like asking somebody how is your wife, and then he's asking you compared to whom. If it's drifting apart, the country has been drifting apart since 1966, and nothing has shown that we are ever heading to any encouraging direction. For the first time in almost 20 years, I can argue and I believe that we have had something close to a civil society. In other words, we have a president for the first time, no matter what you accuse him of, who actually does not abuse Nigerian citizens, who does not open his mouth and curse at Nigerians, who, when he speaks to human beings. Nobody can say that about Babangida or Abacha or Obasanjo.
Okay, now,
yes.
Now, Obiwu, let me stop you there. Remi, do you agree that there is a kind of civil tone in the discussion, and does that mean that the country is not being abused by the leadership, especially when you think about the corruption that seems to be increasing as the country continues to move?
Well, my view is this. I believe that the Nigerian people have been subject to serious violence since 1960. Because when you take your child to the hospital and you're not able to have him treated, that is violence. If you work for Nigerian government for 30, 40 years and you die on the queue trying to get your pension, that is violence. If you sweat to build a house, you stay in your house and armed robbers are able to come in, do whatever they want with you, and there's nobody to come to your rescue, that is violence. You see, the government is based on social contract. And when that contract is violated, it's when the people are not taken care of. You see, the way we behave in Nigeria is that those in government are like our lord and masters. That is not supposed to be the case. They are supposed to be our servants. So if you look at the entire situation, actually, I don't think, I'm very sorry to say, Nigeria is on the path to breaking up, unless we do something as urgently as possible. Because some of the things is this. Let me tell you something. What most people want is to be free and to be able to determine their own destiny the way they want it. And if we are going to be together, there has to be certain incentives for being together. But right now, those basic incentives are not there, even if we want to stay in Nigeria together. And the kind of insecurity, the kind of the economic, how do I put it? I'm looking for the right word. The economic situation is so bad that, you give somebody 1,000 or 2,000 naira, he or she thinks we have done in a great favor. That is the kind of situation we have in Nigeria. And our leaders are not, showing sensitivity. We hear every day billions of money, going out of the federal account. Some people are billionaires, committing fraud and corruption. So for anybody to say that Nigeria is in a very, quote and unquote, good state right now will be contrary to reality of the daily lives of Nigerians. You can expatiate on all these issues that I've just said in a very brief way, but I'm just trying to say that right now Nigeria is not on a good path to remaining united. We can deceive ourselves, we can try to deodorize it and sugarcoat it, but in reality, people are very fed up, they are angry, and very, very soon, if you are not careful, if this anger bursts out, it's going to be a very sorry state for those who consider themselves as stakeholders in Nigeria.
All right, Obiwu, let me come back to you. Obasanjo recently, just this week, said that majority of the people in the National Assembly and the judges in Nigeria are rogues and armed robbers. Yeah. Now that is Obasanjo, and I know that he's one of those people you're classified as using uncivilized language or something like that. But is he not right?
To be honest with you, if retired General Olusegun Obasanjo and former President Olusegun Obasanjo, if he says that anybody is a criminal, it is time for us to begin to look at the person as a righteous person. Obasanjo will never be an advisor on how to run Nigeria. Obasanjo is not in any position to determine who is a good leader, because he has not given us anything near goodness in the history of leadership. Yes, it is. This is not to say that Nigerian parliamentarians are not corrupt. The congressmen and women are not corrupt. I mean, they could be corrupt. What I'm trying to say is, one, it is not possible for me to say that we have a good government in Nigeria. No, I don't believe we have a good government in Nigeria. But I do not believe also that we have the worst government in Nigeria. In fact, I think that this is the better of the past 3, 4, 5 governments we've had.
Can you tell us why it's better than Obasanjo, or better than Shagari or Yaradua?
In fact, I put it in the same place as Yaradua. That's his immediate predecessor. I put it in the same category as Yaradua's government. Not in terms of corruption, but in terms of civil discourse. In other words, under Yaradua was, because of the condition of his health, he was not totally in charge of his government. So we talked a lot about corruption under him, because apparently hands outside his control were managing the government. But then there is no way to compare Yaradua's government and Jonathan's government to either Obasanjo's government or Abata's government. Those were visibly, openly corrupt government. In fact, murderous government, because they were openly killing their opponents. Now, I do not think that we can talk about that something in relation to the present government.
Now, Remi, I want you to come in here. Okay, so we know, we've followed all the revelations about the oil subsidy scam. That is in billions of dollars. We've seen the latest one in billions again of dollars, and this is a country that is having difficulty paying the workers. What do you think should change? What do you think will happen next? Why are people not outraged?
Well, somebody said that Nigerians have been shocked beyond shockability, and maybe that is true. And maybe that is why people no longer really, worry about revelations of corruption and corrupt government officials. So maybe that is true. But unfortunately, what Obasanjo said may be correct, but we were told that he who must come to equity must do so with clean hands. So I don't think he is in position to really say what he said, because he has not really left us with a very good example. But that aside, you see, the kind of corruption that we are witnessing in the 60s, when people steal like thousands of naira or pounds, then we look at them as criminals out of this world. Then came the 70s and the early 80s, when people start to steal millions. Now people steal billions. And somebody wrote an article, not long ago, that very soon people are going to be stealing trillions. But I will not mention this person's name. He's a minister. He once told me that he doesn't know why people are always complaining. He said that those who have stolen money before them, how many people do Nigerians remember right now? And that very soon, if they leave government, within 6 months, everybody will forget about them. They will be talking about the people who are in government. So that concept right there shows you the way people are thinking. And people believe that they will steal their own money, they will go, another people will come and steal their own and go. And if we are going to rectify this situation, that's the kind of your question. If you are going to rectify this question, some people believe that we should not look backward, we just move forward. It's not going to work. Even if you are going to just randomly choose some people as examples and confiscate some properties and bring some people to book, to let people know that, look, you cannot cross certain lines. Unless we do that, nothing's going to work. Because, for example, everything did not start with Jonathan. No matter the way you look at it, you may not like Jonathan, you may, criticize him, but everything did not start with him. But for us to really clean the audience table, we have to look back. There are a lot of criminals walking the streets of Nigeria, and we have to bring some of them to book and then bring them up to date in terms of, people who have committed crimes against Nigeria. If we're able to do that, there may be a possibility of creating some confidence in some other sections of Nigeria who think that maybe we should break up Nigeria so that they can have good life. Some of them believe that if we break up Nigeria, it will be easier to administer and hold people to account. Right now, there is no accountability. And people believe that the reason there is no accountability is one of the reasons that Nigeria cannot survive. Because, for example, look at Obasanjo now. If people start to attack him now, some people from Yoruba land, they will start defending him. The other time when Ibori was going to be arrested, over 1,000 youths defended him and was able to run out of Nigeria. So that is the mentality. In Kano, Abacha's son even wants to become governor. Somebody who should be, in prison in a sane environment. So that is the mentality of Nigeria because of our ethnicity, ethnic origins. But if we bring people who are criminals from every ethnic region and put them on trial and be fair to them, people will now have a sense of belonging. There will be no sense of persecution. There will be sense of loyalty. And now we cannot think of how to build Nigeria. So we cannot be doing it haphazardly. Punish this one and leave and let it go. And even if you look at EFCC, as I said recently, they are only going after people that are very dispensable. We know a lot of senators, ex-governors, even some governors who are still in the office who have stolen money, but the EFCC is not going after them. Look at what happened to Senator Sharaki. He went to see the Inspector General of the Police, who created a soft landing for him, and then he came in as if he was going to a wedding, was there briefly and left. And since then, nothing has happened until recently when they are talking to his wife. You cannot fight corruption like that.
Yeah, Remi, let me stop you. Let me stop you there so that we can get Obiwu involved too. Obiwu, in Enugu last week, President Jonathan said that the problem of Nigeria started long time ago. That it started from the point of amalgamation. That he's not the problem. So, as a student of history, where do you think we should begin to look for what is wrong with the country and how to rectify it?
After 50 years of existence as a nation, I think that it is actually a little bit late in the day now to talk about the problem of amalgamation that happened since 1914. Nigeria, as an independent country, has been in existence now since 1960. We have had all kinds of problems. In fact, I agree with a lot of what Oyeyemi just said. The problem I have with it, and the problem I have with what Jonathan was saying, is that, one, economic corruption does not threaten the geographic existence of a country. In fact, it's not too long ago that the country passed the Freedom of Information Act. So we have actually the instrument to begin to prosecute, as Oyeyemi pointed out, the corrupt people, politicians and civil servants, and in fact private citizens in our country, businessmen, everyone who is corrupt, no matter the person's ethnicity or geographical or religious background. We need to prosecute those people. We need to give power to our law courts. We need to give power to our press. We need to use the instrument of Freedom of Information Act, which we have, to expose this corruption in our society. What threatens the existence, political, geographic existence of Nigeria is violence. Violence, I mean, if Nigeria did not end with the bloodiest civil war in the history of Africa that ended in 1970, it would be difficult for economic corruption to end the country. But at the present time, we have a serious problem that could as well end the political unity of this country, and that is what the Boko Haram is doing in northern Nigeria. I'm one of those who believe that what Boko Haram is doing is political. It is not because some religious sect wants Quran or wants religion. It is simply that political leaders in the northern part of the country are encouraging that violence. And it is possible for any other person, including those in government and those of other religious groups in Nigeria, to exploit, what is going on. At this point in time, what we should be asking Jonathan is, what is he doing as the president to bring the violence in northern Nigeria under control? And what is he doing as the president of the country, if he says he's not corrupt, to prosecute those who are accused of being corrupt? And I think that the press should now go out of their way to identify individuals who are known to have embezzled money or misappropriated government funds, directly accuse them and show evidence of it so that they can be prosecuted. It's not just accusing everybody of, we can't continue practicing journalism or practicing the law the way we have been doing it for the past 50 years.
Now, Obi, we'll listen to this. This week, this is what happened this week. It was revealed with evidence that President Jonathan, listen to this, on April of 2011, that he pressured the Nigerian subsidiary of Egypt Oil and Shell Oil to pay the federal government $1.1 billion to settle an outstanding case about an oil block called OPL 245. And then on August of 16, 2011, the president ordered his junior minister, Yemeri Ngama, and the attorney general to transfer $1.1 billion to Mr. Eke Etete, who was the oil minister during Abacha's time. And this money was shared with businessmen and associates of the president. So I don't think we have any doubt about corruption and how it's circling the presidency. How do you expect a president that is deeply involved in this? And the evidence is out there now. It's not something that we're doubting, to lead this fight against corruption.
Yeah, luckily enough, this is, I hope you know that no matter how terrible this particular case may sound, it is not by any chance as bad as what we have seen in the history of this country. Comparative to several heads of state. Now, the allegation has come out because no matter what evidence we have, he is still innocent until proven guilty. The allegation has been made. The evidence apparently is out there. The next question is, how do we go about, perhaps somebody, a friend of the court, somebody has to, or a group has to sue the president, and this case has been prosecuted. The president at some point will have to defend himself. We should find a way to make the president be accountable. The question is, how do we do it? Who will bear the cat? But I believe that the president is still innocent until proven guilty. We have not, and this is important. He's been in office, at least as president, for at least 1 year, and he's been in office as vice president for a number of years, totally about about 3-4 years now. In sum, we have not actually pointed to him or compared him with any of our past presidents in terms of the number of girlfriends he has, or in terms of number of houses he has, whether in Nigeria or outside Nigeria. Now this accusation has come up. We should find a way to let him defend himself, but he's not guilty yet until he's proven guilty. That's my point about that.
Okay, Remi, do you think that economic corruption is not capable of bringing down Nigeria the way Dr. Obiwu was suggesting?
It's capable of bringing down the government. Okay. But not to destroying the country.
Destroying the country. All right, all right. So, Remi, take it from there.
I was going to say that, number one, let me go to what President Jonathan said. Yeah. You see, I really get upset when you are in the office and then you are complaining. You are in the office to fix the problem, not to complain. And not to tell us what is wrong. We all know what is wrong. We elected you. We put you there. Then go ahead and fix the problem. So when you start saying that, the problem didn't start before you came, that is true. But we elected you to correct the mistakes of the past and put things. In fact, what I was expecting when Jonathan came in was that, okay, the first thing we need to do is, first of all, to agree on Nigeria. Fiscal federalism, structural federalism, bring people together. Let's talk. Let's fix that. It should be the leader to do that, given the fact that people of Niger Delta have suffered for so long in Nigeria. And coming from that area, I know that, it's a chief of the old block of corruption, having been grandfathered by Obasanjo, and the rest of them. I know that. But you see, he has one of the greatest opportunities to be, the new father, or the father of the new Nigeria. Father of new Nigeria. Because when he came in, one of the major problems, and we are still going to have that problem in 2015, is that every section of Nigeria is very upset. Though we can say that the corruption has been federalized. We have, federal character has been applied to it. But that still does not stop. I can tell you categorically, I know an ambassador who does not get a salary until she calls her Hausa friend to go with her to the Ministry of External Affairs. I know some ministers who, though, are making money from this government, but they are all very upset about the whole thing. So nobody is, those who are stealing money are not satisfied. Those who are being persecuted are not satisfied. Those who are in government, either by crook or hook, are not satisfied. Those who are outside government are not satisfied. So what do? Let's come together as civilized people and talk instead of allowing things to degenerate, and then we have, quote unquote, violent revolution like Buhari was predicting. It's not the first one to predict it. He has not predicted anything new. In any society where these kind of things are happening, there's possibility that something violent can happen, and it's trying to call attention for us so that we can prevent it. So I believe that the corruption is engendered by political corruption. Okay, look at it this way. When we have court cases about elections, and then you overturn an election, and then you put in a new government, new governor, and the rest of it. Those who did it in the first instance, what happened to them? Nothing. They are still working the streets. So some of them, either those who rigged them in, and those who are rigged, they should be in jail, so that somebody else will not do it the next time. So if I rig election, I became a governor, and I spent 4 or 5 years, and then you took me out and bringing somebody through the judicial process, and I'm working the street, I'm still going to do it the next time, because all the things I've done for the last 4 or 5 years, they remain there. That is crazy.
Now, thank you, Remi. Let me go to Obiwu. So looking forward now to 2015, and the statements made by Buhari that if elections are rigged again, that it will be bloody. What gives you any hope to be optimistic about the future of the country?
In fact, I would take off from, just a comment Remi made in passing, even though it is not the core of his contribution. Look, Jonathan is not the father of Nigeria. Obasanjo is not the father of Nigeria.
It can be the father of Nigeria.
No, in fact, no. A father is always there before the child. A father is not somebody you elect in an office. We have made a mistake. This is a way of answering the last question. We have been making this mistake, constant mistake of, our problem is with Nigerians. That's why somebody said long ago that every nation deserves its government. Nigerians do not deserve the governments we've been getting. And it is because for some reason, even the very highly educated ones who go to serve from the United States or from Europe generally, when they get home and they're elected in office, they behave worse than those who have been at home all these years. Because we have given these political, elected officers the idea somehow that they are God. They are neither God or gods or fathers. If somebody has a sense of responsibility and if the people know that the power belongs to them, we should be all watchful of what they are doing. We should always be there to correct them and say, hey, why are you using siren and running all over the place? Why is the minister using a siren? Why is the senator using a siren? I mean, why do you have a retinue of all these women traveling abroad with you? Who are they? We should be asking pertinent questions. In fact, what Buhari said doesn't threaten anything. In fact, at this time, some of us should be able to sit back and smile, with knowledge, knowing that a 70-year-old man, for goodness sake, is making noise about Nigeria burning if election doesn't go his way. Buhari was once a military general. Buhari was once a military head of state, a dictator, and he brought discipline with the whip and the gun. That was in the 80s. We should not be taking Buhari seriously now. If he wants to be president, let him go and contest. If he fails, let him get out of the way. Look, Buhari is making noise because Boko Haram has been succeeding in northern Nigeria. And it is because there is a certain culture in northern Nigeria that has allowed the kind of violence people like Buhari are encouraging in northern Nigeria. There are places where you take human life a little bit more seriously, and this is because somebody recently is asking the question, is life worth less?
Can I respond to that, please?
Is there less meaning, less value to life in some parts of the country, that people are always killing fellow human beings at random? And people like Buhari will stand up every time and talk like this. This is, as Oyeyemi pointed out, he belongs to the old stock, and this is the language they use, language of violence, language of the father, language of the God, language of the killer. But, I mean, we should know better. Buhari is an old man.
Yes, I wanted to say just on two things.
Yes.
Buhari, as far as I'm concerned, if you have been following me, I don't like him. I will never vote for him. I can't vote for him.
Why is that?
I believe that right now, he can never or he should never be allowed to rule Nigeria again. But that does not mean that when he's talking sense, we should dismiss the garbage. It's not the messenger, but the message that is very important. What he's telling us is that if you rig election, people will react violently. He's not saying anything new. There's nothing new about that. So I'm not saying we should make him the president or whatever. I will never even vote for him. He's too arrogant. He doesn't respect law. He thinks he's entitled. I don't even think he has the right temperament for Nigeria right now.
Yeah, but
the message
the message is wrong. The message is saying that if somebody rigs election, the person should be killed. That is the message. That's what he's saying. And that is a wrong message to pass. It means that everybody would now think that he has the power to kill somebody who does something wrong.
Okay.
In fact, even if the person commits murder, you don't have any right to burn public property or kill anybody.
Okay, that is very debatable. Okay, that is very, very debatable because drastic situations deserve drastic solutions. So if people have been rigging elections and millions of people have been dying on the roads, in the hospitals, because of, and we are trying to vote you out, you still want to impose yourself on us, that is robbery, that is armed robbery. Okay?
Yes.
We cannot allow you to go scot-free with different degrees of punishment. But in certain situations, when people are pushed to the wall, they are forced to come back and fight you. And when they fight you, anything can happen. And what he is saying is that we should prevent this. We should not allow this to happen. That's a good advice.
But you see,
to listen to what he's saying, they are looking at the end result of what he's saying we should prevent.
No, Remi, is it? Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, because, look, I came from Nigeria. I grew up in Nigeria at a time when if you catch an armed robber, you take him to court, try him, and give him life sentence, or you jail him, you give him, you sentence him to death.
The appropriate punishment.
I grew up in that Nigeria.
Yeah.
So at this point, if we have a law, and that is part of what I was saying earlier, it is time that with the collaboration of journalists, the law enforcement agencies, the law courts, the private citizen, the friends of the court, the government in power, time has come for find a way of giving power to our law, to making law effective. If anybody rigs election, let us have a way of arresting the situation by following the process of the judiciary, the law courts. We should not be preaching violence because we have tried it for 50 years. It has not worked. I come from the section of the country that has suffered violence.
I will have
All right.
to agree with you.
Hold on, Remi. Hold on. We'll come back to you. For those joining us, you're watching the roundtable, and we're having interesting discussions. One of our guests is Obiwu, who is a professor of English. He's the author of The Tigress at Full Moon. And the other guest is Remi Oyeyemi, who wrote The Songs from Exile. This is when we now get some of our viewers involved in our discussion. And we want to continue this discussion, and we want to talk about the idea that Nigeria is broke. We are having difficulties paying youth corpers, our civil servants, and the Minister for Foreign Affairs is talking about borrowing $7.9 billion again. So I will go back to I'll go to Remi. Remi, tell us why do you think we are broke when oil is selling at $100 a barrel? What's going on?
Well,
hello.
It doesn't make any difference to average Nigerian life because all the money is being siphoned.
Yeah. Hello.
Now, if hold on, Remi. I have some of our guests. We got some callers. They've joined us. I don't want you to talk until our guests. I call your name, then you talk to us. All right, Remi, continue.
Thank you.
Remi, continue.
Okay. You see, I believe that with the $100 per barrel, it doesn't make any difference to Nigerians. But I want to address two issues. One is this. You see, Martin Luther King once said that the citizenry have an obligation to disobey any unlawful or any illegal law, if I can put it that way. That's about number two. You see, if we are talking about rule of law, if you want the citizens to respect the law, to obey the law, then the government has to obey the law too. All our governors, our ministers, all of them, they are breaking the laws every day. And now you expect the citizens to obey the law. Okay, if what we want is to make sure that everybody, is under the thumb of the rule of law, then those who are ruling us also have to show example by not breaking the law, by not violating the spirit of the law, so that I will know as a common man that, okay, if I do this, this is my consequence. But if I know that if I do this, I can get away with it, what is going to happen? Then next time, I will, resort to shortcut and, subvert the law. That's one. Then number two, you are talking about culture. In as much as I don't agree with what people in the North are doing in terms of Boko Haram, I still believe that it is wrong to dictate to them.
Okay, sorry, Remi.
Yeah, somebody is trying to come in here.
Okay. All right, Remi, hold on. Let me get somebody involved. Yusuf is Ismaili. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, Yusuf. Okay. So what's your contribution?
Remi has been very, very factual about this issue. And I don't want us to look at it from the messenger side of it. The message is what is important. If you don't have skeleton in your cupboard, you will not be scared of what Buhari said. What he simply said is, in 2015, if PDP rules election again, there will be revolution.
All right, Yusuf.
He never said that there will be bloodshed. People misconstrue the adage he used, and because they don't actually come from the background of Hausa, they didn't understand it. Buhari is somebody I respect, and I think it doesn't belong to people that should rule Nigeria right now.
Okay,
we should look for people that are young, are capable of doing this job.
Okay,
and understand it.
Yusuf, hold on. Let me get another person involved. Onyema, Ike, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. What's your contribution? Make it brief so that we have like 10 people who are lined up. So everybody will make it very brief so that we get the opinion of everybody who is here. Okay, continue.
Okay, I want to briefly touch on what Obiwu has said so far. First is the issue of comparing Goodluck Jonathan with our past administrations. The question I would have loved to ask him is that why did we vote Jonathan? If we wanted Abacha, if we wanted the kind of leadership we had during Abacha, then why did we vote him? All Nigerians want is good leadership. We want Jonathan to make legislation. We have a National Assembly that is wasting. There's no law. Nobody sit down and write bills to send to national assemblies. We have education. We have the federal system, which needs overhaul. For instance, the local government administration, right from time, derives its power from the constitution. Now, there's no local government administration. Nothing. The governors take money and spend the way they want. Another one I want to touch on is the issue of whether Obasanjo has the right to say the truth. The truth can come from anybody. Obasanjo may be a devil, but then he's right to say the truth. Check out Andrew Badem, David Mark. These are the people who have all they are talking about is state creation. What does state creation give us? It gives them, it spreads the power. All these election riggers and losers, they have more powers, they have more money. Let me just touch on the last one.
Okay, that's enough. Obiwu, can you respond before I go to other?
Yeah, yes. What's his name? That's somebody, Ike.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ike. I actually agree with your point. What I'm saying is, Obasanjo didn't show any example, and if he didn't show any example, he is in fact more than any other president. He's the worst culprit of all the past heads of state. If he didn't do what he was supposed to do in office, and he executed a corrupt government and violent government, I mean, who is he now to complain? What if the are just his children? Most of them are actually people who are his beneficiaries. So that is one. On the other hand, nobody, whether it is Buhari or myself or yourself, nobody has a right to say that if the election is rigged, there will be violence. Or somebody saying there will be revolution. Revolution doesn't mean bloodshed. Who is he talking to? Some of us are aware. Nobody has a right to say that. We should instead find a way to make the rule of law the language of discourse. And I'm saying that if there is nothing else that the Jonathan administration has brought to the country, and even Yar'Adua's administration, it is the language of civil discourse, that the ruler should talk to the subjects of the country, the citizens, with respect.
All right, Dr. Obiwu, let me stop you there. Let me stop you there. Olufemi,
can I come in?
Remi, hold on. Olufemi has been waiting. Olufemi, can you make your contribution?
Oh, definitely. Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome.
Oh, yeah. The point is this. I said it about 2 weeks ago when we had a kind of forum like this. You see, Nigeria since are beginning to catch up with Nigeria. And in no distant time, we are going to see the effect of the rotting that this generation of leaders have planted in Nigeria. You see, Boko Haram, Buhari, Obasanjo, or whatever, they did not start today. You see, Boko Haram, Buhari. So the fact is, it behoves on all of us. Do we want to continue like this? Do we want to continue to say it's going to get better, or we are going to continue, or we are going to do something about it? Right. What Buhari said is legitimate, but at the same time, as a citizen or as a statesman of Nigeria, responsibility behoves it on you to know the kind of language you use. Somebody like me might say that, and nobody will complain. But when it comes to Buhari, I think he has that responsibility to manage his language. And on the fact that Nigeria is broken, it takes us back to what I just said. Nigeria will continue to be broken when we have a National Assembly that takes almost 25% of the income, not to count of what the executive is taking, not to count of what the court is taking, not to count on what the governors and the local governments are taking. I served in one of the northern states. You see all these local governments, they are the most corrupt medium in Nigeria.
All right, all right. Olufemi, thank you so much. Let me go to Remi. Remi, you wanted to respond to something.
Yes, I wanted to give an information, because the previous contributor talked about the creation of states. The creation of states is a means to siphon money.
Yeah.
When Awolowo was the premier of Western region, the entire Western region, which included present Delta and Edo State, he had only 6 ministers with himself. 6 ministers. Himself and 6 people, and they made an impact that we are still seeing today. And now look at how many states, how many states now? Close to almost 8. And all of them are commissioners. They have personal assistants. General, just wasting our money. All the money that should be used to help education, to improve agriculture, to create industries.
All right.
So anybody who supports the creation of states, especially in Nigeria, is not wishing Nigeria well.
Okay, Remi, hold on there. Let me get to Tenenola. Welcome to Sahara TV.
Thank you.
All right. So, what's your contribution to what we're discussing?
Yeah, I just want to say that, and I really appreciate him for coming, because we need to be very, very sincere with ourselves. I totally disagree with the other guy that administration has been better than what we have in the past. What can he use to substantiate?
Okay, I think we lost virtually everybody. Hello? Wow. Okay, we'll take a break. I think we lost everybody on our line, and we'll take a break. We'll be back. When we come back, we will continue our discussions. Of course, we have our Skype period when you can call us, and we continue these discussions on Nigeria and Africa. So stay tuned. And we're sorry for the interruption to our program a few minutes ago. And we have 2 special guests today. We have Obiwu, who is a professor of English at the Central State University in Ohio. And we have Remi Oyeyemi, who is a commentator, and he lives in Delaware. So before we went on a break, we were discussing the state of the country, about the economy, and the idea that Nigeria is broke. We've talked about several issues, Boko Haram, Buhari, and we have also people who are joining us via Skype, about 5 of them. And we try to get to everybody to say at least one thing during this segment. But we have less than 10 minutes left for this segment of our program. So let me go back to, let's start with Obiwu. Please tell us your thoughts about how things are going and discussions we've been having. Hello? Yeah. Okay. So, Obiwu, tell us where are you with the topic?
Yes. Of course, we are discussing the issue of corruption in Nigeria and corruption and violence in Nigeria. And the one emphasis I want to make is that, given my background in linguistics and language, political discourse generally, I believe that at least a civil society begins with the type or nature of discourse, and I don't think we have had a civil discourse in Nigeria for the past 50 years, at least for the past 40 years, if not 50 years. In other words, we don't expect people not to fight or not to quarrel or not to at least curse each other's mother once in a while. But that should not be an end. The end should be to have a workable society that our children should be proud of. Then, I mean, if there are other issues, then we have a place to stand on and then take them on one by one. So today, is it possible for us to identify one thing we can say is good with this government, the government of Jonathan, and then say, okay, you have done this well, and thank you very much for your services, and then we look for somebody who can go on from there. You know, that's what I'm trying to say.
All right, thank you, Obiwu. Let me go to Remi. Remi, is there anything that we could thank Jonathan for doing in the last 2 years? He's been kind of head of state or permanent.
Rudolf, I will say this. If you send a child to the school and he comes home with a report card, in that report card, he has 15%. It's some marks, but it's a total and woeful failure. So as far as I'm concerned, Jonathan has failed. Obama, I can forgive him. Maybe as an Hausa man, others, they can also forgive him. Maybe the Igbos can forgive him. But the Niger Delta people, they will find out very, very soon that the greatest error they have ever made was having somebody like Jonathan in power. I'm not saying he should be biased. I'm not saying that he should be partial. But there are certain things you need to put in place institutionally to take care of that area where the money comes from, and by so doing, you will take care of the rest of Nigeria. You see, if the goose that is laying the golden eggs is killed, well, the goose will not only die, the person who has the goose will also die too. I believe he has not done what he's supposed to do. No industry, no jobs, nothing for anybody. All they are doing is just stealing money. So in my books, I'm very sorry. I know I supported him, though I didn't vote for him because I was in the US when the election was going on. But he is a very woeful failure. I'm very sorry to say. He has not met the expectations. He has disappointed a lot of us who supported him, and it's almost getting to the point of a regret.
All right, Remi, hold on there. Let me go to Mustafa Shetima. Welcome to Sahara TV.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good. So what's your contribution? I hope you've been watching what we have been discussing. Any of the topics we've discussed today, you can go from there.
Yeah, exactly. According to my contribution, if you take a look at the political crisis since from 2007 election up to date, what I can say is that the main the reason why Buhari speaks, the reason why Buhari talks about his last speech is that what he's trying to say, what he's trying to inform people is that if PDP repeats it,
Okay, I think we're having a problem with your audio, Mustafa. Let's go to Ahmed. Ahmed, welcome to Sahara TV.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so what's your contribution? Make it quick, like 30 seconds, so that we can get other people, okay?
Okay, first and foremost, I would like to make it clear that actually I live in Finland, and then I'm also worried about what is happening in Nigeria, because I hope the Nigeria I want is a better Nigeria for myself and the future as whole. Now, about what the Professor Dr. Obiwu said, I was actually surprised, with due respect, for him to just try and say, okay, Buhari is trying to say that people should go and kill or something like that. This is something that, something like this happened while he attended one program in Sokoto, and then it's like the reporter misinterpreted that he is saying that we should go and vote for a Muslim, Muslims should vote for a Muslim. And then I don't think it doesn't make even sense for a small boy for you to think that, okay, you want to contest for a president in Nigeria, a country like Nigeria, and you say that, okay, well, you look at it on the religion side. This is a kind of natural hatred we used to have on people. Even if today, I'm sure, even if today Buhari should come out and say, people will still want to put it down with that. Yes, he meant it, and then so that they can just want to pet his blood. There are ways we can paint. If you don't like someone, just say that you don't like him, but you don't have to paint him black, even if he doesn't deserve it. And then on the issue of Boko Haram, that he said that it has to do with these northern leaders. In as long as I have no place for the northern leaders, I still want to say this categorically that the issue of this Boko Haram came after we crushed, the government decided to go after them and crush them. This is something that has happened. Nobody knows about Boko Haram until when, even me that I don't know about Boko Haram until when the government went and decided to go after them and then crush them. Now a lot of things has been happening. We have seen that how there are people who have been killed, and then we did not even talk about this thing. Let me tell you, in Islam there is no way you can go and kill people. It has never been stated in Islam. Even let me just give you one simple example. Even if by accident you go and you kill someone by accident, you are driving a car, you kill accident. In Islam, it's stated that you either pay for the family, or if they decided to forgive you, then you will go and fast for 60 consecutive days.
All right,
so
Ahmed, thank you so much. I have to cut this short, even though your contribution is very interesting.
If you want to hate someone, just hate him for the fact that you hate him, but don't hate him for the fact that, okay because come from one religion or from one...
Okay, Ahmed, I will cut it short, but there's something important I want to say before we continue. I want the people that have spoken to us, apart from our main guest, to please drop, get themselves off the line. I'm sorry to say that because I want to get other people involved, and I can't get more people in when there are a lot of people who are on the line. So if you've spoken to us, please, can you please get yourself off and watch the rest of the discussion?
We'll do that.
And then let me get other people involved because a lot of people are trying to call, okay? Let me go to Trust. Somebody Trust. Are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, please, make your contribution. Tell us where you're calling from.
I'm calling from Toronto.
Okay, all right. So...
Okay. Yeah, my problem with the leadership in Jonathan's government, or rather, let's say the political leaders in Jonathan's government, has to do with enlightenment. Because I read about Buhari's comments recently, and I was surprised at their response, even for somebody like Reuben Abati, someone that I have respected, that I respected so much, to come out and give that type of reply to Buhari. It shows they are not enlightened, because if you read the context of Buhari's statement, Buhari is only advising against rigging in 2015. So it's up to them to say, okay, let's put our hearts together. Let's try as much as we can to make sure that the 2015 election is free and fair. Then come to the fact that Jonathan's government is a complete failure. That I know, because he's clueless. He has not done anything. He don't know what to do. He don't know the direction to follow. I remember in 2007 when Desiani was appointed as Minister of Works or so, she went to the Benin Ore Road and she cried. When I saw that woman crying, when she saw the way the road was, I cried also. I was like, oh, that means there is a solution now to this problem. But that is almost more than 5 years now. That road is still a death trap. So I don't know if it's just sheer wickedness from the PDP, or I don't know. I don't know if they just want to punish everybody in the country or not. It's really, really painful when you think about the situation that is happening in Nigeria. It's very painful.
All right, thank you so much. Let's take Babatunde. Babatunde, can you tell us where you're calling from and your contribution?
Hello, I'm calling you from Warsaw, Poland. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Well, I quite agree with your commentators, either from the left or from the right. We have to be careful with the utterances we make within the
Okay, hold on, Babatunde. There's someone whose computer is on, and that is interfering with our program. Please, can you turn down the volume of your computer? I know you want to watch, but turn it down if you don't have your earpiece. Okay, and we are trying to round up because we have some guests who are here. So briefly, Babatunde, make it very quick. 30 seconds.
So I quite agree with your guests. I mean, they've all tried to build a nation. But the truth is this: let us not deceive ourselves. Yeah, what are we talking about? Are we going to continue rigging elections in 2015? Is this how we want to build Nigeria? Let us say that one of the things is we've never had a civil in this country for 50 years. As I said, let people say their mind. If you rig the elections, judiciary where you have Awokei, who sold Boris case out, now handing the national governors, is that the justice we are looking for? If people can no longer rely on the judiciary, even without Buhari making those comments, they are bound to
all right, but Babatunde, I have to stop you there, please. I'm sorry, I have to stop you there because we are very, very out of time. Let me go back to Remi Oyeyemi to summarize, say the final word, and then I'll go to Obiwu. Remi.
Well, the only thing I would say in conclusion is that if we are going to be a nation of law, we have to be a nation of law. Like the last time I spoke with Perfect Peace, said something. He said some people cannot be eating but chicken. We have to be equal in front of the law. If our governors, our ministers, all the people in position of power are breaking the law, and they expect the rest of us to obey the law, it's not going to work. All of us have to obey the law, and then there has to be a consequence who are rigging elections. If you are in office for 4 years and you are removed from office for rigging, you should be punished. And maybe for you to be there, you must be punished too. You can't just let them out of and then they will policy, all the salaries they are taking, that they are not in the public. We have to start from there. That way, if you start to punish in the office, you think twice. To leave Buhari out of this is just what is right, and we should be as simple as that.
Okay, Remi, thank you so much. Obiwu, before I go to you, please, someone is on the line that has his TV on and the volume is interfering with our program. Please, can you turn it off? We are going, the final word will be from Dr. Obiwu. Obiwu, please, can you round up your thoughts on our discussions today?
Yes, there are 3 ways to look at the issues at hand. One is the problem of leaders without vision. We do not have visionary leaders. 2 is a nation without law. Wherever there is no rule of law, then of course we expect the kind of problems we have: corruption that has no solution, and of course violence that has no control. And then 3 is people who have no respect for the rule of law, apart from politicians. I think that most of our problem, we have a lot we should take the blame too, ourselves as citizens. We have unnecessarily empowered political leaders by identifying them as godheads, and they are not godheads. And then again, also aspiring to be like them, because we always think of how to enrich ourselves when we get into government, and then you get into government, and then you start enriching yourself, and then people start crying, oh, you are corrupt. Everybody has a share in this blame, and we should not always expect that leaders can correct themselves when they know that all they need to do to stay in power is to bribe 1 or 2 of us. We should have visionary leadership, and we should have the rule of law. Ways to empower the people and the government and the law are things we should be looking at this point in time. That's my contribution.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us, all our guests and all the people that called. I know I didn't get to every one of you. I hope you will join us again next week when we do this roundtable, and of course when we take your Skype calls. I want to especially thank Dr. Obiwu from Central State University in Ohio and Remi Oyeyemi for being part of this roundtable.
Thank you.